Let's face it, UFC pound for pound rankings suck. Everybody knows it. You know it. I know it. Dana knows it. So, today I'm going to give you my top 7 MMA pound for pound fighters right now, living best in the world today. This is based off skill, this is based off resume. Number 7, Marab Devilali. He pitched a shutout against Yan. That memory of Marab carrying Cejudo across the cage was rent free and was super impressive. And then him beating Sean O'Malley, I mean, he did everything he was supposed to do. He did it well. Not exactly the most exciting fighter. Like if I'm making a fantasy UFC 400, if it was like tomorrow, I'm definitely not putting Marab on the main card or even the prelims. He might be like the early prelims opener, and that'll be like the championship fight, just because it's like, all right, let's, he was there, it opened up the card, but yeah, cardio freak. Um, Marab is probably the best at weaponizing cardio right now in MMA. So that definitely gets him at number 7. Number 6, we got Dricus Duplessis, Mr. Wonk himself, Mr. Cartoon boxing himself. It looks so wrong when he fights, but he is so effective. And I remember watching him versus Trevin Giles, where I was like, this guy is definitely gonna lose his next fight because there is no way that this guy's a serious contender. And I didn't believe it until he beat Robert Whitaker, and I was like, oh, he, hey, I will never doubt this man again. And ever since then, I've picked him in every fight. He just had a great performance against Izzy. Izzy a bit out of his prime, but still great performance. Did what he needed to do, and he finished the fight. Before that, he got the nod in a split decision over Sean Strickland. I scored it for DDP the first time watching it, and then rewatch. I think I watched it like twice after, and I can see where the Sean Strickland fans are coming from. But I thought DDP won it. And then before that, finishing Rob in the second round, the next fight for him is definitely Chimaev, and I think the winner for that fight will have big implications on the pound for pound list. Because if Chimaev ragdolls Dricus, he's definitely got to make top 7 pound for pound. And if Dricus beats Chimaev, he solidified top 5 pound for pound. That's easy. If he beats Chimaev in impressive fashion, especially, he might be top 5, top 4. So I hope they do that over Strickland. I know if Strickland were to hear this, it'd probably make him rage. But hey, man, that's the fight to make. And number 5, we got Francis Ngannou. He left the UFC as the best heavyweight in the world. Uh, so I'm still gonna give him respect. And the only time Francis Ngannou hasn't looked good was in a heavyweight boxing match with AJ. And I don't think those really have implications on the MMA pound for pound rankings. Since the rematch with Stipe, he showed to completely patch up the wrestling hole. Well, maybe not completely, but he looked proficient. And I remember hearing about how he was training with Usman, so it showed, and it showed in his PFL debut, his MMA debut in PFL against Ferreira. A Francis Ngannou with dangerous wrestling to get you in a position where you're just eating shots is a dangerous one, and I think he's the second best heavyweight in the world right now, right behind Tom Aspinall. I think Aspinall is the best heavyweight in the world. John Jones did not make the top 7. You don't get on a top 7 pound for pound in the world right now by beating Surreal Gon, who Ngannou beat on the way out, and then the official record says winning, but he lost. He should have lost that Reyes decision, and that was what 4 years ago. So that doesn't no. Tom Aspinall right now for my money is the best heavyweight in the world. I think he starches Jones. I think Ngannou probably starches Jones, but it's closer. I mean, just watch this dude's fights. for as long as they go. When it comes down to fighting, it's about winning, and he wins quickly and spectacularly. There's this TikTok or Instagram reel where he's talking about how he's finished 6 of the top 10 in heavyweight. And when a guy's put in that much work and is impressive amongst his peers, you gotta give him those props. Now, the only reason he's not top 3 for me is because it's still heavyweight. I just don't think that they're really gonna cross the skill gap between these like lightweights, featherweights, bantamweights. It's not the same thing. But Tom Aspinall, he's great to watch, and I think he's gonna keep winning for a while. Top 3, number 3, it's the man of the hour, Ilya Taporia. I mean, two goats in 1 year, KO'd. His striking is insane. Defense is great. Powerful. KO powers. Got grappling. What more can you want? Got a sick style to watch. Got a sick style that's effective. And against top level competition. Finishing Volk and Max in the same year is insane. And I really do think he's one of these fighters that's going to bridge us into the new age of MMA, wherever that's going. Honestly, skill wise, he could be number 1. But the thing that's holding him back right now against the people that is in number 1 and number 2 is the longevity factor. I think as he gets more defenses, maybe a Volk rematch, which I mean would be an easy grab to bolster up the resume it's looking like right now. And the Lopez, he's gonna easily climb up to number 2 or number 1. I'm not particularly a fan of the fight versus him and Islam. I just want to see him at 145 for a bit. But if they were to do that fight and he were to win, obviously he would shoot up to number 1. But at number 2, we got Alex Pereira. I mean, the fan favorite, and for good reason. This guy's sick. His fighting style is sick. He goes in there. He's got crazy KO power. He puts people dead in the octagon. It's amazing to watch. It's been such a ride as an MMA fan since he's come into the sport. And I know that he's got a big skill gap when it comes to grappling compared to the rest of the top 7. But when it comes down to pound for pound, he's been double champ. He went from 185, got that belt, and then he went up to 205 and got that belt, and he's been defending. So he's the only one in the top 7 to get that double champ status. And I mean, especially if he were to get a win over Ankalaev on short notice on UFC 310, if they make that fight, put him number 1. I don't care. He's number 1. Easy number 1. Yeah, goated. Goated. And at number 1, we got Islam Makhachev. Been incredibly consistent. He's probably got the best combination of consistency, longevity, and skill amongst the list. I think there's not a huge gap between 1, 2, and 3 right now, or even 4. A lot of these guys can shift through, but Islam Makhachev has just continued to prove himself as the pound for pound number 1 in the world as of right now. A good win over Dustin Poirier. Standout was against Charles. And of course, the 2 Volk wins look great on the resume, even though Volk is a 45er. But yeah, Islam Makhachev at number 1. Here's the UFC top 7 pound for pound rankings. Who's your favorite fighter on this pound for pound top 7? And then give me your top 3 as well. Your top 3, but who's the favorite? And that's pretty much all I got for this one. Hope you guys take care.